The Highlands of Scotland in the mid-19th century were a place of rugged beauty and quiet hardship. Among the rolling hills and mist-covered valleys lived a boy named Ebenezer Bryce, born on November 17, 1830, in Dunblane, Perthshire. His childhood was shaped by the Presbyterian values of hard work, frugality, and faith. As he grew, Ebenezer learned the skills of woodworking and carpentry, talents that would later serve him well in a new world across the ocean. But his future wasn't meant to be spent only among the stone cottages and green pastures of his homeland. Early life and emigration. By the mid-19th century, the winds of change were sweeping through Scotland. Economic pressures and the lure of opportunity abroad led many young men to leave for distant lands. Ebenezer was among them, driven by both ambition and faith. He joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints during the height of Mormon missionary work in the British Isles. Soon he decided to set sail for America, where the church was gathering its members. The voyage was long, weeks at sea on a cramped emigrant ship. But when he stepped onto American soil, he was filled with determination. In Salt Lake City, Ebenezer's skills as a carpenter quickly found use. He built wagons, barns, and homes for fellow settlers, earning a reputation for being meticulous and dependable. Meeting Mary Ann Park. In Utah, Ebenezer met Mary Ann Park, a strong, capable young woman with her own remarkable journey. Born in Scotland in 1833, Mary Ann had emigrated with her family in search of a better life. She was no stranger to hardship, and her resilience matched Ebenezer's own. Their courtship was modest but sincere, built on mutual respect and shared faith. The two married in 1854, beginning a partnership that would see them through decades of frontier challenges. Building a life in Utah. The Bryces started their married life in the Mormon settlements of Utah Territory. Ebenezer was known for his practical skills, especially building wagons. His craftsmanship earned him steady work, but life was never easy. Winters could be brutal, summers dry, and food was always a concern. Mary Ann managed the household, raised their children, and endured the constant uncertainty of pioneer life. Together, they moved when called by the church to help establish new settlements, packing up and starting over again and again. Moving to Arizona and challenges, in 1875, the Bryces moved south into the Arizona Territory to help build Mormon communities there. It was an unforgiving land, harsh deserts, limited water, and the threat of Apache raids. But Ebenezer's skills were desperately needed. He constructed irrigation ditches, barns, and homes, helping turn barren land into habitable settlements. Mary Ann's role was equally vital. She not only cared for their children, but often aided other families in times of sickness or need. Bryce Canyon years. In the late 1870s, the Bryces relocated to the Paria Valley in southern Utah. It was here that Ebenezer built a sawmill and irrigation system along a high plateau of red rock spires and hoodoos. The locals began calling the area Bryce's Canyon after the man whose irrigation canals made settlement possible. Ebenezer himself didn't think much of the canyon, once remarking that it was a hell of a place to lose a cow. But in time, Bryce Canyon would become one of the most famous natural wonders in the United States, long after the family moved on. Later years. Eventually, the Bryces left the Paria Valley and settled in Arizona for their remaining years. Ebenezer and Mary Ann lived quieter lives, surrounded by their children and grandchildren. Though they had moved many times, they never strayed from the values that carried them across continents: faith, hard work, and service to others. Ebenezer Bryce passed away on September 26, 1913, in Bryce, Arizona. Mary Ann followed him 2 years later in 1915. They were laid to rest far from their native Scotland, in the land they had helped settle through sheer determination. Today their names live on, most famously in Bryce Canyon National Park, where towering red rock formations stand as silent witnesses to the grit and perseverance of pioneers like Ebenezer and Mary Ann Bryce. Their story is one of migration, faith, and endurance, a reminder that behind every landmark, there are lives lived in quiet strength, shaping the land and communities we now take for granted. They crossed oceans, faced deserts, and built with their own hands. And though the world remembers Bryce Canyon, the true legacy of Ebenezer and Mary Ann Bryce lies in the countless families and settlements they touched along the way.